Morning, everyone. Today is Friday, October 4th. It's just after 10:30 a.m. This is the Dryden Fiber Public Broadband Committee meeting. This is our first meeting of the month, which is our meeting where we look at everything that happened last month. And a lot of stuff happened last month. I'm going to display my screen, and we've invited all the different participants who helped out with a huge month last month to be here to give their reports. Let me share my screen. Maybe. Here we go. All right, because this is our meeting where we do the report, I don't have the agenda. We're just going to go through the report. And during the report, please take time as we go through this to do Q&A, ask questions about what's going on from each of the team members who are reporting. As I said, there's a lot of stuff on here, so we want you to learn a lot, but also be able to ask questions about what's going on and what you're seeing. With that, here we go. All right, pretty high level executive summary. This is if you only pay attention to one slide, this has a lot of it, but pay attention to the rest of the slides too. The MIP project was awarded 5 projects in the first phase. Dryden is one of them. The Dryden Caroline project was one of those 5 projects. Now, as of a month ago, we had 8 customers who are using Dryden Fiber, and their installations are paid for by this MIP funding. These are not just 8 of our customers, but these are the first 8 customers that have broadband access from MIP funded installations in all of New York State. As of today, I think this is still true that we're the only project that has customers up and running with installations that were paid for by MIP. So we were shovel ready. I'm going to repeat that story because it's something that helps us to get a lot more stuff done in the 2.5 years of the project, and we're already hitting the ground running. I'll go a little deeper into this in the deck. Empire State Development approved our partnership a few weeks ago, and a couple of days ago, we received the grant disbursement agreement. Those are the next 2 steps in the process, not just to have been awarded this partnership in June, but actually to have a signed agreement that says we will get that $8.9 million over the next 2.5 years. Now we're able to now serve 939 parcels, and Ryan's going to report on what the percentages are across the whole town. We're making a pretty big increase in what we can serve, both in terms of parcels and households, with the updates that came this month. We now have 126 paying customers. We were at 91 customers, I believe, in a month ago. So 36 new customers in September. We had 43 inbound requests, of which 25 were in the green zone. So much higher percentage of people who are requesting service that are already able to get service. We have 11 customers in the install queue already for this month. It's only the 4th. And just as a little report on what we said we were going to do, what we did, on August 1st, we estimated we'd be at 100 plus customers by the end of the summer by 9/21. We're actually at 126 customers by 9/30. So we really went way beyond what we thought we'd do by the end of the summer with that huge month of August, and following that, an even bigger month in September. Now a new estimate as of today, October 4th, looking at doing 200 total customers by the end of the year and 262 by March 31st. That's our break-even number. Once we hit 262, paying on average about $50 a month, that covers our monthly fees, and beyond that, we can use the funds to pay down the capital cost of construction as well as to cover installation costs. We'll go a little deeper into each of these, but before we do that, any questions on the executive summary slide?
I just have one comment. Do you think that people look at this map? The map update came out this morning. Since yesterday, we had 7 new signups from the town of Caroline. It's like, wow, people are looking at this map every day to see, is it here yet? Is it here yet? Is it here yet? So it's very interesting.
Yeah, but seem to have been cut off, but there is a new map as another part of this summary, which I'll show you in a couple slides, some of the functionality of it. Two things happened. One, we did update the map with the new service area that includes all the updates that we're planning for the next 9 months, as well as the Caroline component. And a town board member from the town of Caroline told people in Caroline, you should start signing up now so we can get you in the queue. So when we do turn your parcel screen, you'll be able to have a call that says, we're now available for you. You've already signed up. Can we schedule you? So I think those two things happened. Mostly, I think it came from that request from the town board member in town of Caroline who said, start signing up. All right, let's keep going then. So this is the note that we received on September 19th from the Empire State Development Board of Directors. Thrilled to share that our project was approved on September 19th. That was kind of late in the day that day. Then the next step would be to send us the grant disbursement agreement. So huge win to have that get to that next hurdle a few weeks ago. And then this is the email received a couple of days ago with our file with the grant disbursement agreement with some timeline on providing feedback back to them this month, where then they can then turn around and give us the final contract that we'll sign to move forward with that $8.9 million grant. Huge amount of work was put into this proposal way back in the winter, February, March, April, tons of hours by the team within the town of Dryden with Jason and Dan and Amanda, and also a ton of work from Ryan and the team at Hunt to get everything in aligned in the right message and the right story about what this is going to cost us and how we're going to budget this, so much that they were able to put together this plan for us that we signed on to. This is a big chunk of how we're going to pay for the project, so we're excited about this. It also helps us to expand from Dryden and help covering Caroline too as part of our operating plan. This is the project highlights. I think I've displayed this every month since we received the award back in June, the news that we were going to be receiving this. The blue is the current existing network, either live or that we have permits for. And the red is everything that's proposed as part of the MIP grant. There are other parts of the town that we'll look at today's maps that are going to be covered in other ways, but this is showing a move to reach all unserved and underserved homes throughout the town of Dryden so that 100% of unserved or underserved homes are reached, as well as all the unserved or underserved addresses in the town of Caroline. So many service locations. A little timeline summary. As of today, as of October 4th, we are now at 126 live customers. As I said, we're on track to do 200 by the end of the year and 262 by the end of Q1, by the end of March 31st. Again, that's our approximate break even on the business on the monthly expenses. There will be a little bit of incremental, but we think that should be where we land, around 260 customers. By the end of the first half of next year, June 30th, 500, and then double that to about 1,000 live customers by the end of next year. And that is going to happen because a huge amount of the town of Dryden will be in the green zone by the middle to this time next year, as well as starting to be opening up addresses in the town of Caroline. And as Tracy mentioned, already seeing demand within the town of Caroline for service. So we're feeling good about this track line to go from where we are now at 126 up to about 1,000 customers in 15 months. On the right is a map that is now live on the website. by the end of this month, by 10/31, all of the Village of Dryden and Freeville should be done or really close to being done. Also by 10/31, by the end of the month, Ithaca Estates, which was Congress Trailer Park, as well as Pine Ridge, which is a 21-unit apartment building on Route 366 in Varna, should also be available for service. By the end of the year, nearly all the yellow parcels north of Route 13 would be green. By June 30th, the remaining parcels north of Route 13, which are the blue ones, those would also be green by midway through next year. Also by June 30th, as permits work and timing goes for construction, begin to build our network south into those orange zones that are in the southern half of town. And then by a year or so from now, September 1st, the first parcels in Caroline along that town line, Route 79 being green, all the way out to about 2 years and 3 months from now, where everything that's on this map that's in orange is part of the MIP grant, is to have all of those parcels be green by 12/31/26. So we won't be updating these projections every month. It's a lot of work to figure out kind of where we're at, but we do want to talk about what we're looking at kind of quarter by quarter, year to year, both in customer projections and the green zone projections. Any questions on this timeline summary?
Looks great.
Yeah, it's a lot. It feels really good. We're doing a lot of work, a lot of stuff getting organized to make these things happen.
Yep.
This is a slide.
Dave, quick question. Are you being a little conservative with your estimates for signups for Dryden? If all of the village, I mean, that's our most concentrated population, the greatest density. Do you think you're being conservative on the number of live customers?
Probably a little bit. I think at one point I was like, we can get 500 by the end of the year. But then mathematically counting backwards, it would be difficult to actually hit that number, to do that many installs, to schedule that many, get that many people through. So that's one part of it. We could have that many requests, which would be really good. I would like to say like this is a conservative place where we could be at. The other part is I don't have the exact number of parcels and households for each of the green zone projections on the bottom half of the page. We haven't been focusing on that level of data at this time because there's just a lot of needs from our GIS team. So we could put all these into numbers and then look at take rates and probably come up with something a little bit closer. But for now, I feel like this is maybe a little conservative, but something that we think we can hit.
We also have to remember that the village has a lot of businesses and it also has a lot of apartments. And so it's a matter of there's a lot of steps in there to get both of those. And I think, and also the installations, even if we did 40 in a month, you know, that's really still hitting these projections with some extra time in there.
Yeah, I think the 1,000 by next year is right along with our current plan, which is we can do 4 installs a day, every day. That's 5 days a week. That's 20 installs a week. It's about 80 installs a month. If you do 80 installs a month for the next 12 months, that's 960 installs. So that's a good pace for us to be at. But a lot of that comes from getting the parcels to turn green and then getting people scheduled.
Right. So it's really a capacity issue, how quickly we can deliver to these areas.
Yeah. Because as of right now, we're still not completely done on the village of Dryden. There's some densely populated areas that aren't quite done yet. There were a bunch that were released yesterday that Tracy mentioned, but there's still quite a few left, including like Lee Road. I think there's like 50 or 60 houses there. Not yet. They'll be hopefully by the end of the month, but maybe into November.
Yeah, we also don't really know what the uptake's going to be. You know, we have people who look at, try and figure out their TV. So it's I don't think we want to overestimate. I think we're better to stay at a conservative level and then beat those figures if we can. So
So what went yesterday?
We'll look at that in a few minutes. We'll get
Okay.
there. Yeah. This is a slide I put together for the town board so they can talk about the project in case there are questions about the MIP project. I'm going to share this deck with the entire team here, so you'll have a copy. This slide was also given to the town board at the September town board meeting. Just talks about the funding that is the Dryden component of the funds, as well as why we added Caroline to our project, both because we believe we were able to win the agreement because we had Caroline included, as well as it adds 1,100 homes, which makes the entire project more sustainable. We're going to go from there into the team reports and have each of the participating teams talk about what happened in the month of September. Amanda?
Good morning. So here, pretty basic in terms of it's 126 total customers. So we have 117 that are residential and 9 that are business or commercial. We had an increase of, as we said, 36 new customers. We did have one decrease of a customer that got wooed away by Spectrum. So that's the one change, the one loss of a customer. Any questions?
Man, that one loss, that's because they were offered what, like 25 a month for like 2 years or something.
Jason, can you say that one more time?
The one loss to Spectrum was like a cost thing purely, I think, right? Is that the one where they said that they got a 2-year?
Yeah, it basically was basically a
2 years,
cost.
like $25.
Yes, basically, from what I understand, Tracy, I actually spoke to her. It was merely a huge savings even underneath ours, which it wasn't a factor of service or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was an introductory offer, but for 2 years, it sounds like, right?
I believe so. Tracy, can you verify that?
That is correct. And so what's happening is Spectrum is seeing their losses, and they're going to start coming after these people, but they're only coming after them after they've been with Dryden Fiber for 2 or 3 months. Then they come back to them and say, we can offer you this service as a new customer and give them that savings.
Yep.
Thanks, Amanda. All right. Ryan, construction.
A couple of changes to this slide to more reflect the actual, what we would call the pole permitting process ending after electrical maker construction. You need that to be based on the pole before you can attach. So if we're looking at the completion of this to attach to the pole, that's how I remade this slide. So I think from a DOT permit perspective, we have one out there. That's cool, but not a lot of besides MIP stuff. On the electrical make ready, the big highlights here are we have begun construction of placement on Dryden 004, which is the Etna area, including Ithaca Estates. And simultaneously, they are working on DRY 012, which is State Route 366 from Freeville to the Etna area. And then so they began construction on those last week. We'll talk about construction on the slide. But then also ready are Dryden 005, which is Caswell, and Dryden 0, which is north of 13 north.
Right, I'm not sure if it's me or your connection. I'm getting a little bit of loss of your audio.
Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, that seems better.
Okay, yeah, I think I've got mic issues on my computer.
Ah,
Okay, yeah, Dryden 004 in Etna and Dryden 012 in from Freeville to Etna along State Route 366. Those are in construction, and we are placing our cable. We began that last week or this week, and we'll continue next week. And they're gonna keep moving right into Dryden 005, which is Caswell Road, and Dryden 010, which is also ready for us to place cable, and that's on North Road and State Route 13 North. We are also working through the electrical make ready on 3 other applications, which is Dryden 6, 7, and 9. And these are, again, this is the projected area that we're trying to get done before the end of this year. So once electrical make ready is complete, those will turn blue just like that, and we'll move right into construction on those apps as well. And that'll really just leave Dryden 008 and Dryden 11, which Dryden 11 was split into 2 different apps because they're in 2 different. So we submitted 1 app to Verizon, forced us to split into 2 apps. But they did say that they would prioritize those applications and catch them right up to what they needed to be for. So we have Dryden 008 and 0, basically the last ones to be completed with electric.
got it.
Brian, is 010 Route 13 to the county line?
To the town line.
Or I'm sorry, well, yeah, that particular line also happens to be the county line. Yeah, you're right, town line.
Yep, so it'll continue up from Central Road to
To the town line.
town line, yep.
Yeah. Well, good. I happen to know somebody that lives in one of those last houses before the town line that's been asking me about this.
So Ryan, on this one, the ECD, the 3rd column, that's the date that we expect the permit to be handed over to us for construction. Like,
Yes. Yep.
great. So electric make ready is a task that the permitting, in this case, NYSEG, they own that. They're doing that. We think they're going to get their part done, in this case, on October 30th or November 30th.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Then it takes 2 or 3 weeks for you guys to run your part. Generally, is that?
Yeah, generally speaking. Yep.
So this is super useful to know where we are, because we can't do anything about the permits for most of our projects. With the underground can, and because these are named DRY 001 to 012, these at least in this batch, we asked Ryan and the team at Hunt to make this a little bit more visual as far as what the town looks like, and they did this awesome map. We're going to show this again. I think we looked at this a couple weeks ago, but this will give you a bit of better understanding of where we are from Dryden 1 to Dryden, maybe just Dryden 4 to Dryden 12, the ones that aren't complete yet. Ready, Ryan?
Yep.
Okay. Now you might be able to figure out which addresses are which from the apps.
Yes, and I also tried to provide a little bit of a legend at the bottom that would make sense to, as far as, what in construction means. Telco make ready versus NYSEG review versus Verizon already, which are the various.
So I had one question on Dryden 011, the Verizon review.
Yes.
One is on the east side of town, the Gulf Hill, Sweetland, Bradshaw. Is the other one?
On the other side of town. Yeah.
Is that Etna Road?
Yes.
Henshaw?
So they made, it was one application, they made split it into two.
Uh,
Yeah, because I guess there was two different tax districts.
Hmm.
That was the way that you were required to split up applications. So those ones have been put on a little bit of a different track, but up with that app and also
gotcha.
the other.
I noticed that DRY006 didn't have a color, but I think based on description of Bone Plain Road, it's this up here.
Yep, that's right. Yep. Now the interesting part about that one, that is where the Tompkins County. The other
I think you might be too far from your microphone again.
the Bone Plain Road, this is kind of a Jason item. Back when the county awarded money to connect to Lansing data center. You know, I heard some rumblings that maybe the planning for that work is in process right now. But we're currently about to hang cable up there. If there's any way to find some synergy with that awarded money. Does that make sense?
That was to Jason.
Yeah, to Jason.
Yeah, Jason, you're muted right now.
I mean, we can touch base about it, you know, offline, but there's some county money awarded for Bone Plain Road, and I think we're ahead of them on our project.
But
So I
that's
just
money
wondered,
awarded to somebody else, not us.
yeah, I think Clarity Connect got money to run fiber from Lansing Data Center to somewhere in Dryden.
I remember Kurt Anderson was talking about that a couple of years ago, but I don't know if anything's actually happened with it.
Yeah, so I can touch base with you offline about that.
Yeah, I think Lansing Data Center, that's the old Milliken Station power plant.
That's right.
Yeah, which I don't even know if a data center's actually been built there. So that whole project might, maybe they're gonna still run the fiber up that way, but that was a line that was supposed to come through Yellow Barn and go through Freeville and then branch off towards Lansing. Which, I mean, I don't even know if that's been built.
It hasn't, and I heard that they're just getting into the project. So I figure, you know, if we're already running fiber, maybe you know, we can help them with that.
Yeah. So this map shows the last few properties on 13 North as part of DRY 011.
Yeah, you're right, Tony.
All right.
Yeah, you're right. It's
That
actually
covers that Gulf Hill Road area and all
yeah,
of that
just
out there. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's this. Here.
That's that top corner there. Yep. Yep. Okay. So that one's a little further out.
yeah. Apologize for that.
Yeah, this showing this DRY 011 will receive it 11/30/24 as a current projection if everything goes right. So construction could start in December.
Right.
Now, I don't know if this status for DRY 011 needs to be branched into two separate ones, one with the asterisks for the west side of town, one for the east side of town.
It probably should, because they'll track them differently at the utility level.
All right, so it's this is something that kind of came up a few different times this week as we talked with other networks, as we talked to the operations team. I believe we're probably the only ISP that's showing this level of detail to anyone about construction. Even just the public map with the greens, yellows, blues, and now oranges for MIP. Most ISPs don't have any detail about what's coming, when it's coming, what the process is. So I'd say good on us for doing that extra work, but also like it's a challenge to maintain and manage all this and have it I don't know, a format that can be received and understood by a lot of people at different levels of the project. So definitely good job on Hunt for putting this together. Kind of gives a good visual. And as we said with everything on this side of the project, very much based on estimates if everything goes right. If there's no tropical storms, hurricanes, outages, not that those things ever happen this time of year, winter storms, blizzards, anything that might happen to slow down permitting, electrical make ready, things that are not in our control, that this is the schedule we're looking at.
And this will evolve as we move forward and decide that we need to track different things and add different visibility.
All right, let's keep going.
Dave, are you feeling that the overhead is too much to do this sort of level, or don't we need that to plan anyways? So
I think what we said was we're going to update the public map for green, for yellow zones and blue zones quarterly. I think that's a manageable amount. Asking for it weekly, asking for it monthly is a lot. So we have this map. We're just going to stick with this map for the next 3 months. Ideally, in 3 months, everything here is green. And then we can look at a more detailed map on the southern half of town. I believe, and Ryan has the exact number, we already have 13 permits out for MIP. Maybe it's more than that.
It might be more than that.
Yeah. So each of those permits could have their own color, their own zone. I mean, permits are very much based on roads and telephone poles, so we know where they are and what roads they're on. So we could do that level of detail. But to be updating these more than once a quarter it does seem like a lot.
Yeah. But we are going to update the public map that says when you go green, that's going to be going and keep continuing on, right?
Yeah, those
as
roads,
they turn on large sections. Yeah,
totally. Yeah.
I think that works for us. So,
and that's another factor that is making our project different than most other projects, where a recommendation is like get the entire town of Dryden completely wired, spend the original budget $14-15 million, get it all wired, and then turn it on and ask for customers. We had customers on when we only had 100 houses available. Now we have over 1,100 houses available, and people are signing up and using the service. And as we build it, we keep inviting more people to use it. It's just a much different way to do business than everyone else out there.
yeah, and you're testing your billing system. We're making sure that things go smoother each time we do that kind of thing. So I think that's a great way of approaching it. So
yeah, I mean we're learning a lot, and our customers are getting the service.
And moving forward too, as we make addresses live on the live map, it'll get more to these specific to these applications that you're. So, as opposed to Dryden where we got a couple streets and it's 100 people, make that live. You'll see more of like live as we move into the north part. So on address availability updates, as of October 1st, we added 291 parcels in September, and that equates to about 314 households, upping the total coverage to 939 parcels and 1,146 households. The total coverage in the whole town, which is our target, that's 5,839 parcels and 6,036 households. The percentage increase for this month is 5% of parcels and households. And we added 6 miles of wire, 6 miles of aerial cable and about half of underground construction, bringing us to 21 total miles of aerial, 5.5 miles of underground. Major items of note: the village of Freeville aerial work is complete. We have a couple of small areas that we need to reach with some underground, and we're working through that. The Empire Overlash, which is Mott Road, and a small section of Route 13 that gets to the road, that was all good, as well as Johnson Road. Those, you'll see those in the mapping updates that came up today. Underground work was completed at Greystone and Penny Lane / Logan's Run. So those two subdivisions in Dryden were completed. And over the next 2 weeks, we're looking at the completion of Brookside Drive, a few parcels on North and / Pratt Street, Mill Street. And like I said, a couple of miscellaneous locations that we just need to get to like a specific parcel. Most of what's included in that is mapping and as-built. So contractors owe us as-built. As we get them, we put them into mapping that Clarity Act can use to actually make the hookups. Underground construction will begin on Hilton / Goodrich, which is another large subdivision in Dryden of probably about 60 more addresses, as well as Lee Road, which is another separate 60 addresses. There are 3 small subdivisions on Yellow Barn that we have to circle back and pick up. All those drawings have been given to contractors and the work schedule. And Hanford Drive going to be following those locations. We are, like I said, we are placing cable on Dryden 004, which is Etna, and Dryden 005 on Caswell Road. The next 2 weeks, we'll be splicing that work, which will complete it. Any questions on address availability?
Well, that's great progress, Brian.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan. Do you want to talk about this other construction update, or is this covering what you already said?
This covers a lot of the apps that we're talking about, but takes the dates a little bit farther into when they'll be complete for us. So
Okay.
More redundant information, but this gives you when we'll actually be active in these areas.
Awesome.
Specific questions on construction?
You want to cover this one too? Because so beyond all the construction, all the permitting, and all the as-built and all the GIS, Hunt is also doing other engineering work on multi-dwelling units, mobile home parks, where we can't just bring in Clarity because we have fiber out at the street. We actually need additional engineering support. So Ryan, you want to talk about some of these projects coming up?
Yeah, so these are some individual engineering projects we're working on that are basically reside on a single parcel. So 1062 Dryden Road is an MDU where we provided drawings to a contractor. They'll be working on those in the next 2 weeks. And same thing with well, actually Lake Road, we are in the design process for that one. We have somebody going out and we'll have drawings to the contractor by the end of next week. Ithaca Estates, that is part of Dryden 004, so it's a mobile home park, aerial distribution, so we'll be able to do most of our work via the aerial permits that we have on Dryden 004. Mott Road is a trailer park we're currently tracking, but I don't believe we have permission.
No, we haven't received any permission from the owner on that one. I've reached out to him a couple of times, have not gotten anything back.
But that one is underground, so we could proceed as soon as we get that permission. And then Little Creek Mobile Home Community. That is in construction and part of Dryden 004. That Dryden 004 gets us onto the property. It does not get us some distribution in. So there will be a small underground section of that that we'll have to augment with but we do get into the park via zero. And then I think this is the same parcel you referred to earlier, Dave. 1056 Dryden Road, which is that new development.
Yeah, I think Tracy will have an update on that in a minute.
So I just wanted to get a slide on here to track these projects on these and add any or make comments on our strategy here.
I can go ahead and comment on that now if you want, Dave.
Yeah, why don't you give us a quick update on 1056?
It's not 1056, it's 1061. It's that new apartment complex. It's Grove something or other. I reached out to them. They decided that they were going to go in a different direction. They had Empire Access came in and gave them a price to run the fiber for them to the building. I don't know where they're running it from because I didn't even know Empire Access was in that area. But they determined that they had Empire Access had done some work for them at another property that they designed and built, and they reached out to them and they said, "Oh yeah, we can do that. We'll just put it in for you. It'll be part of our project." So they took care of that. It's they're not going to go in our direction right now.
Did we know Empire Access was in town at Dryden or in Varna?
I didn't know that.
I know they were cable. I didn't know that they were customers.
They had a line. Like, we did the overlash with them and around what Sims Hill, like somewhere between Sims Hill and
Yeah, that's
over on the north side.
it's Mott Road, Route 13, up Sims Hills, Empire Overlash.
But you're saying that the developers wiring them in?
Yes.
'Cause
I
they
don't know.
can't
I don't know how.
Well, I mean, they can't exclude us. I mean, it's they can't by law. So if we want to service people there, they have to let us. You know, they there's an FCC rule about this. And these are what you said 1062?
1061. Is
It's
this large?
1061. It's across the street from 1062, which is Mr. Waywack's property. This one is right across the street from it, next door to where that Gwen Gooding lived.
The new one, where because
Yes. Which
Those are on
which
the
the
side.
rail trail goes right behind their property.
Goes through their property.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the trail is here, so
Right.
this part is really undevelopable. It's a
Right.
slope that
Right.
goes on the hill.
But it
Yeah,
goes
it
part
goes
of that
through their
same
property.
property. Yep.
And they're well under construction. You drive by here.
Yeah, they're building away.
Yeah, it's almost they're going to be ready to go by the end of the year for sure.
And they said Empire Access is providing them broadband.
That's correct.
I don't know, Jason, Dan, or Ryan, do we have any communication with Empire Access? Any relationship with them?
Yeah, I have a pretty tight relationship with them.
Can we find out what's going on, or like?
I can. Yep, I can definitely do that. You want me to put
But
you in-
to clarify, we still have to have the property owner's approval to take our service in, right?
Correct.
That's the sticky wicket. So,
Yeah, that's what creates the issue here.
mhm.
Yeah, but they can't sign an exclusive agreement with Empire Access. There's an FCC rule about it.
Yeah, I understand that, but they also can decline our request, right?
Which is what they did.
Yeah. That's why we need this legislation and for the legislature to get back, because you know, our assemblywoman is willing to carry the legislation to give us access to these multifamily units.
Well, a similar thing happened I went over and spoke with the people at Poets Landing, and they're getting service they have an agreement with Spectrum that the people running that project have service that they deliver to each one of the tenants there. And they're giving them the internet, TV, and phone for $59 a month. Like, they're getting the whole package for $59 a month. I don't know anybody that's getting that.
That's not a,
It's very interesting being out there talking to these people and finding out this stuff. I'll tell you that.
Tracy, do you know if that is a introductory offer?
I don't believe so. I believe
so.
that the people that the administrators there got a deal with Spectrum that they deliver the product, if you will, to the location, and then they distribute it to the tenants.
This is a conifer project.
I do think we could get in the same room and have a conversation with Empire about this, though. I mean, I don't know about this location, but you know, in general, you know, we can definitely get them on a call and discuss, you know, what their approach in Dryden is going to be.
Yeah, that'd be good. Let's set that meeting up. Probably should be you, me, Jason, Dan. Anyone else on the Public Broadband Committee can join us or wants to kind of hear what they have to say.
Right.
Yeah, because Empire Access also sent this thing to me about what's it called?
Reciprocal poll.
Agreement.
Yeah.
Yeah, for poll.
Yeah. So that would allow us to move their attachments and them to move our attachments.
Yeah, the thing I need to know about it is some like the language. I've never seen one of these before, so I don't know if this is what is used industry wide or what. Yeah,
I mean, I think in general it's a good thing, but hearing that they're coming in and starting to serve customers in Dryden, you know, it's probably worth a separate discussion.
Yeah, why don't we take that offline and try to figure out what that request is, how that plays into everything else we're doing with and around Empire Access. Ryan, do you want to take us through the updates on the map for just a minute or two while we're here?
Yeah, so you're referring to the most recent updates?
Yeah, so this is now the current map on Dryden Fiber's website under the map, as of updated this morning. And you want to talk about the new features and then the new areas that are green?
Yeah, so while you're zoomed in, the new couple of new features that we added are the road lines. So we clearly see roads, and we also see titles of the roads. So Turkey Hill Road, for instance, see that. We also added, when you zoom in at a certain level, you can see the individual addresses pop up with an icon. So that allows people to identify their property a little bit easier.
I got to say, I jumped on this morning, and this is incredibly better.
Yeah.
Way better to use.
Yep, it is.
I appreciate it, Ryan. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I don't think there's any other features to discuss while we're zoomed down in there. Obviously, we've added the MIP projections. We've also added Caroline.
Yep.
And then as far as green area updates, if we're in Freeville, on Mott Road, starting in Freeville and moving east all the way to 13, it switches back and goes up 13 to Sims Hill Road and all the way across. And we avoided Tony's place on purpose.
Yep. See, I'm still surrounded by green there, but I'm still yellow. Yeah.
The
Feel like
cool
you're in the ocean.
So that was a big update for us. And then Hanford Drive is an underground area. And the majority of residents are on the east side of the road. So that'll be the pathway on the side, and then we'll just do some west side to get over to the residents. Not too bad. And then in the village of Dryden, there's great, so the Penny Lane, Logan's Run, were both activated. Actually, Berkshire Drive, I was having a discussion with our GIS individual for Berkshire Drive. We're going to turn that one green on the next map update as part of the miscellaneous updates. Mill Street, we've got a plan for that, so that's also part of our next 2-week plan to get that. And then same thing with Hilton Goodrich.
Yeah, that Hill Goodrich is a big area.
Yeah. Now, if you go north, you'll see Greystone Drive and Pebble Drive. Activated. And those couple miscellaneous parcels that you see between there, we just need to make sure that we can cover those. We're right there. We just need to clean up a couple of miscellaneous ones. Yeah. In fact, Greystone 1, I know we consider. And then
we already had 2 people from Greystone signed up just yesterday.
Great. And then Brookside Drive, the underground work is done, but we're activating. So it's not complete yet. It's almost there. So we should have that done in the next week or so.
Amazing. So when we look at the number in terms of percentages, we had a 5% increase in both parcels and households. But in terms of what we've done so far, that brought us from 11% of parcels to 16%, which is a 50% increase by turning all these parcels green through Mott Road, through here in the village, through Logan's Run, and then this one other piece on Johnson Road that comes from the village of Freeville down to Route 13. So huge increase, basically a third of what we have went live in the last month.
So why is that intersection of Dryden and Johnson still yellow?
This comes from the north. Go for it, Ryan.
Oh, yep. There's a small pole app that we have to cross Dryden Road.
Oh, okay.
Those 2 pieces. It's being done a little bit differently than all our other pole apps. It's called the business visual process. So that we're just waiting on some pole apps for that.
Okay.
It's just a small section. You can also see Chelsea Circle, Bear Circle, Scout. Yep. We call it Scenic Way, but Scout Lane is included in that as well. Those are all being worked on by the underground construction crew.
All right, huge updates on the map.
Yep.
Share with your friends. It'll be in a newsletter for Dryden Fiber, in the town of Dryden newsletter in the Dryden Fiber section, as well as on our social apps later today. All right, this is going to start from the beginning. We'll kind of fast forward up to where we left off. With installs. Tracy, do you want to cover this? You're muted right now.
Yep, I got it. Sorry about that. So in September, we did 36. As you know, there were 18 pending as of the 1st of October. And actually, I believe 7 of those have already been done this month. We had an installation blocker. We ran out of the NIDs. The NID is the thing that goes on the side of the house to to allow the fiber to come from the handhole to the house, and then from that NID you go to the ONU, which is what the piece of equipment is that's inside the house. According to our records, we still had NIDs in stock, but evidently there had been at some point somebody took some and didn't let us know that, because I made contact with Graybar and we used what they sent us. There was 125 ordered originally. We did use all of them, and we were just out of them, unbeknownst to us. I ordered some. We had them the next day. They came quickly. Graybar worked with me. They were great. They had some at their New Jersey location. They shipped them to Syracuse, and we had them delivered the next day. So the problem is taken care of, but we thought you should all be aware that this happened. Not trying to hide anything. We have things in place that this is not supposed to happen, but like I said, our records showed that there was still some in stock, and it was not true. So we got it under control. Everything's good. I just talked with a member of the Syracuse utility team this morning. I've ordered some hand holes because they need them to start going on this next project. They will be here Wednesday. The shipment is already in Syracuse, and they're going to deliver it next Wednesday. So that's been taken care of as well.
Awesome. Thanks for the detail here.
No
Any
problem.
questions on installs for the month? All right, Amanda, finance updates.
So finance updates, basically, when I did the budget last year to figure out how much we needed for bonding, I was estimating that we were going to get the ARC grant money in. Due to just paperwork, we are still working and to get that done. So right now our cash is at zero. So basically we are borrowing from the town fund, and that'll get paid back either when the grant comes through or when the next influx of money from either the bond or MIP. So pretty much any time that gets borrowed from the town, it always gets paid back. But other than that, continued lots of subcontractor costs this past month. There is a portion of this that's obviously MIP expense that I'm tracking in a separate spreadsheet. Obviously way too much information to try to put in one slide. So that's pretty much the basics on the capital construction portion of the project. And I should say I am working on the project budget for 25, but also starting to look at 26 with the MIP money. And going forward, because even after at the end of into 2027, there'll still be work to be done on this project. So we are updating that budget now, with lots of work to come to that.
Amanda, you said the ARC money that's the 624, 614?
Yes.
Any questions on finance capital?
Yeah, the interest payments are on the bond, is that right?
Yes, and that was paid in January when we renewed.
Man, it looks like there's a couple of commas, periods issues with the subcontractor costs here and here.
Oh, yeah. I'll have to fix that.
Before I send this out, make sure we update that so I can send out the
Yes,
updated version.
I'll get that fixed.
Thanks.
Because it's not in Excel, it makes it a lot more steps, which is why my columns look a little funky. I can't fix it. I don't know why.
Manually carrying numbers over is not most ideal.
No, but anyways.
Okay, operations, finance.
So operations, I do want to say, I think it was last month that I mentioned that I was having, the one struggle I was having is emails from the billing system a lot of times go to a customer's spam or junk. So we had some customers that just didn't know because they didn't get their bill and they weren't checking those folders. Tracy was a big help and reached out to a few of them, got them all cleaned up from what would have been August late payments. So I have a few coming in now. Again, that's a few, but the other big key is I worked with Scott at Integrity and the billing company to say, hey, is there any way we can make this email be less, be triggered for spam and junk? And it seemed what the billing company said to do, and Scott did, it worked, because when I sent out the initial email that says, hey, welcome to Dryden Fiber, use this link to set up your portal, those emails were getting opened within like an hour, before, when they weren't getting touched for a while until somebody called me or someone did look in their junk. You know, there's always, everybody has different ways of handling their email. So that was, Scott was a huge help for that, to get that fixed, because that was a lot of back and forth with the billing system company. And Tracy just reaching out, and they took his phone calls and took his emails. So suddenly they started calling me going, hey, I didn't know I was overdue. And I'm like, you had the service for 2 months. You didn't know that you wouldn't have a bill? But that's fine. So that was one big, I would say, win for the month of September, was getting that all cleaned up. So I have a few I got to follow up again with that were new customers in September that the system hadn't fixed itself. But even those are starting to come in, because now they're starting to see their second invoice and go, wait a minute. And so I resend the email, and they take care of it. So that's the main piece there. Our expenses continue to stay pretty much the same. They're basically the credit card fees are the main thing that are increasing, because obviously with more customers paying through the credit card and ACH, those fees are going to continue to creep up as we add revenue. So that is pretty much the basic. The other thing I want to mention is parcel service. These are different numbers than Ryan's, because we didn't have this. We updated this at the beginning of the week before that whole new update came through last night. So this was, as of Wednesday, this was the number. And obviously we will add the piece that came in for October.
Amanda, are you aware of what they changed to make the emails not go to spam? Or
no, I'm sorry. It's a very technical something. There was Graham, I could send it to you, but to me, it was a lot of gobble. It was a series of numbers and letters and dots, and I can't even remember to tell you exactly. Okay. If you're interested, let me know, and I can send you the basics.
Yeah, send me a thing. I'm curious, because we had some ideas about that, why it was getting into spam, but you just don't know. So
yeah, I'm sure it was some kind of DNS thing. Yeah, I'd be interested in that as well, Amanda.
Okay. Yeah, and it was interesting. I happened to be on the phone with a new customer. She was wanted to set up her payments, and I said, okay, let me resend it to you. And she's like, oh, I can't see it yet. And I said, okay, go check your spam. And all of a sudden she's like, oh, there it is. It's in my spam. And Gmail was throwing it off into spam. So I know it was getting to people. It was just getting someplace where they weren't looking for it.
Weren't necessarily seeing it, right? And there are ways around that. There's configurations that can be done to prevent that.
And so basically the billing system sent us the proper configuration. Scott went in and changed it within the billing email setup. And once that happened, it seems to be working a lot better. But I'll send Graham and Tony that basic information I got sent.
Yeah, I'd just be curious, like Graham.
Yeah, because Tony, what our web person sort of said, and I sent this to Amanda, I believe, was, it's how you mask up that URL.
Exactly right. Yeah.
It does it. You do it one way, it tends to go through. If you do it another way, it doesn't. So I'm just want to see if that was it. So, but
it
could also be registering the server to say, oh, this isn't a spam server. So I mean, they could have done that work too. I know we have to do that with Amazon to get our ones to work. But
yeah, we have to go through all sorts. We have a number of systems that send automated emails, and the stuff we have to go through to get those not to go to spam can be kind of interesting, depending on the system.
Yeah.
I'll let you guys handle that. It's not my thing. That's why I was like, Scott, here, whatever you got to do.
Thank you. I'm glad we got it resolved, Amanda. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, thanks, Amanda. All right, Tracy, sales, busy month again. Or I think you're muted, or you're being really quiet.
I'm never quiet, so sorry about that. So the first one is the Ithaca Estates, formerly Congers. As Ryan said, that's part of 004, and I believe that that's just about complete. I hope so. I'm going to meet out there with Eric from Clarity, and we're going to see what we need to do to be able to get going on that project. Those people are they're going to drive me crazy, but they're rightfully so. They've been green for quite some time, and we haven't been able to get to them, and they don't like that. As you can imagine, I can just see if we turned Tony green and then we didn't get to him for a while. The 1062 Dryden project, I am going to meet with Syracuse Utilities. They have that in their work to do list. I'm going to meet with them to go over what the project is. If Ryan, if you'd like to join us, that'd be great. I think we're going to be out there on Monday. I can let you know for certain. Lower Creek Road and Woods Road is the properties that are owned by Carl Westerling. He asked me not to reach out to him until next week. He had some personal things going on early this month, but he said he would be glad to talk to me, and I'm going to reach out to him next week. As you know, the Little Creek, which is the one over on North Road, it's ready. We can do whatever we want in there. I have a signed agreement with those few people, and they said, "Yeah, go ahead, get it done." Mott Road, I've sent out an email to the owners there a couple of different times. I haven't received anything back. I'll keep trying. Eventually, they'll probably respond. Mostly, they'll respond when they have tenants in the park that sign up and say, "Hey, are you going to get a service or not?"
Yeah.
Also on Mott Road is that there's a gravel pit out there. That those folks way back when said, "Hey, if you ever get to Mott Road, we want service there." So I'll reach out to them again and get that taken care of. The one on Lake Street, Ryan mentioned this. It's I don't know if you're familiar with it. There's 2 brick apartment buildings that you can actually see from Route 38 as you go by, and there's no cables or anything on the outside of those buildings. And the owner's like, "Okay, we can put stuff on there, but I want to see how you're going to do it because you're not going to make my building look ugly." Rightfully so. So Ryan's got a plan. We're going to go out there and see if we can figure out how to get that done. I met with the owner, and his management company is the Dryden Apartments people, which I've become very familiar with those folks. And I've met with them on a couple of different projects. They're very helpful. They want to see their tenants have the service, so they're doing everything they can to help us out. They also were involved with, I met with them regarding location at 8 Library Street, which is right next to the library, and it actually is owned by the library, and they said they would sign off on it, and we have already 4 people in that apartment complex that are ready to go.
So Tony, we're having to assign, they run a lot of buildings around the town. So are you having to individually sign each one of those? Is that correct? We couldn't do a mass one with them. I know there was some talk about that early on.
Well, the issue is that we need the agreement with the owner, not with the management company.
Oh, I see. Okay, got you.
So I have to reach out to the management company to find out who the owner is, and then the owner has to sign the documents.
Right.
That's how it was set up.
And in some cases, it is. In some cases, Dryden Apartment Company does own the things, but in most cases, they're just managing them.
Right. They own some of them, correct? And if they own them, they're good to go. They are very happy to let us do whatever. Actually, the folks at that at the Dryden Apartment, they're great to work with. Really nice people. And and like I said, they're trying to help us do whatever we can to get these tenants to have the service. So, Town of Dryden, Town Hall, and DPW. I am going to meet with Eric. We got some information from Ryan this week about how we can do this. So I'm meeting with Eric from Clarity this afternoon. We're going to see if we can figure out how to get this done so that we can finally have our own people on our service. I know this will make Graham happy.
Yes, it will. Because I don't know who we're paying. We're probably paying Spectrum now,
and I don't know either, but it doesn't matter because it'll be better to have it on our own service. That's for sure.
It'll be a little cheaper.
Yeah, probably. We have currently, with rental agreements, I have 17 signed. I have 2 more that have been approved, but they're not in our hands yet. And then there's still 3 or 4 that we are waiting for somebody to sign them. It's very difficult to get somebody to sign this when they don't really have anybody signed up in their building. It's like,
right.
Why do you want this? So it's but I keep pushing them, and eventually we'll get it taken care of. As you already know, we had 36 installs. We had 18 pending as of the 1st of the month. I sent out a list this morning of an additional, I believe 13 that are on the sign-up sheet that just became in the green zone. So we should have more signed up or on the schedule for installation in the next couple of days. Let's see. And as Amanda said, I reached out to all those folks that didn't pay their bill. It was kind of funny talking to people. They're like, "What? What are you talking about?" And like Amanda said, you've had the service for 2 months. You didn't think you had to pay for it. So everybody was very nice. They were apologizing all over the place, and they all took care of their problem. It's not an issue. Mostly people just aren't aware. That's all.
So it was because the bills went to spam. Is that what happened?
Yeah, for the most part, that was what was going on. Most of them are like, I didn't get a bill. I don't know how I'm supposed to pay it. I don't know how I didn't get a bill.
There's no paper bill, so there's nothing that ever is going to get in their mailbox.
Right.
And it's the same thing with the rental agreements. We send out these the agreements to the prospective owners, and if they don't get it, it goes to their spam or something. Then they're unaware that they even got it. So I'm doing follow-up calls with most of them to say, hey, did you get this? Because the other thing is it expires. If they don't sign it within a few days, it's a DocuSign. It expires, and then we got to resend it. I even had one lady last week who said, I've been trying to look at this thing and I can't. Can you send it via mail? So we actually mailed her a copy last week so that she can sign it.
And Westerling has at least one person that's signed up, right?
Yeah, yes, he does. It's your son.
This one.
And it's like father, like son. They're both waiting for the service.
All right, thanks, Tracy.
You're welcome.
All right, I don't think anyone from NetTegrity is here for customer service. Kind of a couple key headlines: 41 install orders in September. That's why we had so many installations, because we had so many install orders in September and then into October already scheduled. 22 user error education calls, either asking about service inquiries, like, am I in the green? How close am I to the green? Some hardware questions, some questions about range extenders. And I'll talk about this in a minute. 30 other or unrelated calls that got to NetTegrity when they tried to reach someone else in the town of Dryden when they called our 844 number. So pretty busy month for customer service. I can try to answer questions. Any questions on September customer service?
The 22, you said user error education. You said most of those are just asking about being in the green and whatnot.
Yeah, on the lower right-hand corner, I put some of the things that we talked about during our operations meeting. Service inquiry, like there isn't a category. So we use NetTegrity. NetTegrity does customer support for a bunch of ISPs.
Right.
These are their standard set.
Gotcha.
15 different buckets they can put the calls in. They don't have one for people calling about service location in location out of location. So they put that for the user error education because we're educating them about where the service is.
Yeah. And the sporadic connection one, do we know anything about those?
There was an issue with the pop on Pinckney, which was resolved within 24 hours of identifying it.
Cool.
Yeah. It had I had about a 10-minute issue on Wednesday morning for about 7 customers that were close to that.
Interesting. Okay.
Some of the highlights, we've already talked about these quite a few times. I think the key one over here on Serviceable Live, the number of people who've requested service, 197, we now have 126 of them are now live, which is the highest percentage we've been in since way back last fall. So people requesting service, we're able to provide them service if they're in the green, much higher than we were even just 3 months ago. Maybe the other thing to note, kind of looking at this trend line, is under contract. In the September to November time period of last year, we had 6 customers. We added 35 customers in September alone of this year. So the more of the map that turns green, the more customers we're able to add each time period, each month.
Well, and it's going to be a snowball too, because as more people get on it, more people are going to talk about it, which hopefully will drive additional people, right? So
yeah, so this will actually contribute to that too, which is we just have our new signs came in a couple days ago. I picked them up, I guess, last Friday from Town Hall. 50 new signs. We already have a handful of customers who have volunteered through our Facebook posts about having signs in their yards. Mostly new customers, existing customers, a couple of people who want the service who are like, hey, I'll put a sign up even if I don't have service yet to let people know that the service exists. So we'll get those signs put out over the next month. We also are doing posters. I'll talk about the phone number in a second. Social media, email marketing, and the business tier that was approved 2 weeks ago. We have a letter that's going to go to our business tier customers with the features, as well as doing a postcard to all business tier prospective customers and updating the website with the business tier. And some of those are already in process. Those signs are coming. Probably either later today, I'll start delivering those, or on Monday. So let's talk about the phone. Right now, to reach Dryden Fiber, you have to call the 844-888 number, which is the town hall, and click option 2. What we've learned is a lot of people don't listen, or they get confused about how to reach Dryden Town Hall or Dryden Fiber billing or DPW, which is why we have a substantial number of calls to Integrity that are non-Dryden Fiber related each month. So we're proposing to have a new number just for Dryden Fiber, a separate phone number completely that we'll put on our print materials, the website, social media. Basically, one button goes to installations and support, another button goes to billing, goes to Amanda. And then all other Town of Dryden will go to that current number, 844-888 for Dryden Town Hall, Town of Dryden business. So a couple of options on the phone number. One is we could just get whatever the next available 844 number is, or we could do a custom number. Now, neither of these are available because Amanda did some checking with Cassie to see what was possible. We can't get 607 Go Fiber or Fiber Go, but we're opening up to the committee. If you have suggestions of a 7-character word, we can try some to see if they're available under 607. Any thoughts on? Well, first,
do people really do the? I mean, do people really do the dialing by name thing?
They don't have to.
Yeah, that was my question too. It seems like, the way people use phones these days, it would be an extra step.
I mean, I would think it would be better if we could look to see if there's something like a 844-5000 or one of those sort of easy numbers to remember. What you want. I mean, ideally you want something easy to remember, right? But I mean, I think the dialing by with the name is cool, but I'm not sure people really dial that way anymore. But just
I mean, we have drydenfiber.com, which is like super memorable. It's easy to type in drydenfiber.com. Maybe something similar in a phone number would be good. We do get, as you saw, quite a few phone calls for support installations, and we want to get those in billing too. It doesn't have to be. I think 607-844 and then some easy 4 digits will work too.
Yeah.
We want to throw it out there and see if you had any thoughts before we move forward.
I
And when
believe
we
that
suggested like
typically,
Go Fiber, we were just trying to think of something, again, simple to remember, even though people might not use the letters, at
Right,
least if,
right.
like if you had to, you can go, okay, yeah, Go Fiber, all right, you can figure it out. So, but we're open to whatever. We're just trying to make sure we have a number that we can get.
Right.
Do 4 Dryden,
What was that?
like the number 4 and then Dryden.
Ooh.
The only thing I was getting a little cautious about is because of Caroline, to not get it too specific to Dryden was my one concern, even though the name is still going to say Dryden Fiber.
It's a good thought.
I think that in my experience as a communications person forever and ever, whenever you ask for a specific telephone number, the phone company says, "Oh, there's a surcharge for that." And
Yeah.
they charge more for that number. Even though it's a number that's available, they're still going to charge more for it. So just something to think about.
I think we have estimated, I don't know if there's a cost, but I think it's pretty low, like one-time fee of like $40.
Yeah, because it will be a digital number. I mean, it won't be a landline, obviously. It'll be a digital number.
All right, we'll keep working on this and have something soon.
Yeah, if anybody has any brainstorms, feel free to send them out.
I think that's the last part of the report. So we went over by 23 minutes. Thanks everyone for your patience on that and for diving deep into a huge month of September, which is our biggest month ever for installations and construction, as you saw with Ryan's report. Added about 50% more houses and households, parcels and households. I guess before we
David,
end,
can I ask one question?
Yes. Yeah,
I
go
have
for
one
it.
question. Does anybody that's on this call have a relationship of any kind with Riley Brewer?
Yeah.
His service to his building got taken down by a truck. I don't
Again?
even know, 2 or 3 months ago. That was the second time that it happened, and I actually talked with him. He said he was going to put a mast on the side of the building so we can reconnect him. He never did that, as far as I know. I've driven by there and I look every time. I've stopped into the pub to see is he doing it. He's never available because he's a construction guy, so he's never there. I just don't want this to go into the weeds and we forget about him and then it comes back to bite us in the butt. So if anybody has a relationship that they can reach out to him and say, hey, we want to help you out here, but you said you're going to put something on the building so we can raise the fiber higher and it won't happen anymore. So as of right now, he's a customer that's paying for the service, but as far as I know, he doesn't have the service.
Where's the building?
Riley
It's-
Brewer's pub.
The tap room,
Oh,
The tap
Brewer.
room. Yeah.
right there where Laser Brewer Brewster was. Or whatever
Oh,
his-
oh, yeah. Oh, right.
Is it possible to go underground somehow there?
That's so last I heard, an engineer that works here at Hunt has a relationship with Riley, and he reached out to him, and Riley said he was looking to bury a conduit. And it almost sounded like he was doing it himself, but he didn't have time to do it right. So we kind of got
I
pushed.
mean, most of the work he did on that property is all stuff he did. I mean, he did it all himself.
Right. He's
Yeah.
a contractor, so that's what he
Yeah.
does. And,
So-
and
so
I
I-
and I think I've heard the same thing, Ryan, but like I said,
He kind of pushed me off kind of the same way he pushed you
Yeah.
off.
I just don't want to let the guy go by the wayside and we don't do anything for him and then it
I
comes
agree.
back. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to be proactive about it, but he's difficult to get to.
So how's it feeding the property now?
It's coming from a pole going to his. It was going to his building. It was just mounted to the side of the building, but it was pretty low on that side, And the first time it happened, a garbage truck took down the cable. And then the second time he had a delivery of food products that the truck
So these
went
are
in and
trucks
hit it.
going into his
Yes.
driveway.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
Okay,
correct.
so it's
Well-
happening. It's happening in his driveway. I get it.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
And that's probably
It's a low building. It's not very tall building, so
It's not. Yeah.
Like I said, my concern is he's pretty well known in the community.
Yeah.
We don't
yeah.
need to have him being pissed off at us and we're not taking care of him.
No, we
So-
certainly wouldn't want that. That's for
right.
sure.
So, and I just want to, if somebody knows him or somebody has a relationship, find out what's going on. Because, like I said, I've called him, I've texted him, I actually talked with him a couple of times, but he's just same thing Ryan said. I'm too busy. I don't have time to do this right now. But he's still paying his bill every month. So, and he's using, I think he's using Elon Musk's connection right
Using
now
Starlink?
to get his service.
Yeah.
So,
Geez, that's expensive. If he's using Starlink as his backup service, Starlink is
he's
expensive.
got like a router with a CDMA card in it. So I don't know if it's
So he's using a cellular like T-Mobile or something.
Yeah, it's 5G or something.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
I just know that he's, like I said, he's paying for service that he's not using, and it bothers me.
I was considering getting T-Mobile because T-Mobile offers a backup internet service that's not very expensive. I was thinking about getting that as a redundant backup because Spectrum hasn't been the most reliable, if you know what I mean.
No, that's not true.
But I'm sure Dryden Fiber will be more reliable.
But let's hope so.
yeah. So Riley's gear has a slot for the CDMA card right in, so you plug it right in his Meraki.
Yeah, okay. So
Yeah,
he's operating. So he has a redundant backup, and he's operating off his backup service at the moment.
Which is why it's not a big deal for him
Right.
to
I
get
got
this
it.
taken care of.
Yeah.
But it's a big deal to me.
Yeah.
And we had problems. They had some problem in the router. They were rerouting his address back to himself or something. That was the early start, I think. Which
Early on.
did get fixed, but it took a little while for them to figure out what really was going on. So there was.
And he was like the first one on it, right?
Yeah.
He was very early on in the project. Yes.
He was one of the first couple. I know that.
Yes. I think right after the bed frame people.
Oh, right. Yep.
Knickerbocker.
Yep. Knickerbocker. Yep. Well,
So anyhow, I just thought I'd bring that up. If anybody has any, reach out to me. Let me know. I like I said, I've talked with him. I've called him, but he's a busy guy. He didn't have time to deal with it. So,
Tracy, if you send Corey a message, I think out of anybody that I know, he's got the best chance of catching Riley's attention.
okay.
So if you shoot Corey a text,
I'll text him. Very good. That's all I had. Sorry to take up more time.
Good, thank you. All right, thanks everyone. Our next meeting is in 2 weeks on Friday, October 18th. Thank you.
Great day. See ya.
Thanks, everybody.